Hello guys, welcome back to EU4, playing as the Ottomans this time in this tutorial about warfare and diplomacy. So I just booted up a game as the Ottomans, as you can see, and have just started. I have just chosen a few rivals over here. In diplomacy screen you can see it down here. Now last episode in this tutorial series we talked about, well, these icons up here, and what they do in general. So now we're going to talk about how to conduct warfare and how to actually move your troops. So you usually start with an army, as any country. I don't think there's any country that doesn't start with some troops, but in any case you can zoom in and out, of course, with the mouse scroll if you like. That's how I conduct my EU4 plays. And then you can see you have an army. We actually have two armies here as the Ottomans. We start with two rather decent sized armies. You can just left click on the army and a new screen will come up, or left click outside of your army, then you will deselect it. Or you can do something like this, like hold down the left key, whoops, and in case, say, two armies, and then you have them here. You can see how big each army is, and in total over here, and how the army is, well, set up. So this army here, the Anadolu Ordusu, has 12,000 infantry and 4,000 cavalry, and the Balkan Ordusu has 10,000 infantry and 4,000 cavalry. So they are decent armies. Now, how do you actually conduct warfare? Good question. So I want to take this land here. It belongs to, as you can see, Byzantium. It says Constantinople, and then in the parenthesis it says Byzantium. Byzantium is the name of the country. We can left click and we can get a view of the actual province, or we can right click and it will go to the diplomacy screen with Byzantium chosen. As we talked in the last episode, we can see how their diplomatic situation is like, or how their what their diplomatic situation is like. So to declare war, you actually just need to click this button. Let's actually just wait 1 month so we can actually click it and see what happens. We'll just let the game run. You can pause and unpause by pressing the spacebar. I will up the speed to 4. Just let the game run until at least the 11th of September. There we go. Now I'm going to right click on Byzantium again, and you can see this button is now, well, not grey. Then I can left click and it says declare war. It says here something called aggressive expansion. We get 49 aggressive expansion by just declaring war, because casus belli, or reason for war, there is none. We do not have a valid reason to go to war with Byzantium right now. Byzantium also actually has this down here, this peninsula, the Peloponnese Peninsula. Oops, back again, declare war. If we did this without any reason, just went to war for the lulz, we would get -2 stability. So up here you can see our stability right here, it's at 0, so we would be at -2, and that would be bad. Declaring war on an orthodox will move us towards legalism by 25. That is a religious mechanic. We won't really talk that much about religion, but each religion has their own sort of mechanic and system. But if we went to war with a non-Muslim nation, the orthodox here, we will gain some illegalism. If you click here, the tab here, you can see if you are a Sunni nation, or a Shia nation, or at least has that religion, you have two like sides here. We have legalism on this side and mysticism on this side, and then there's a slide in the middle, and this slider can go to the right or to the left, depending on your own actions. So by going to war with the non-Muslims, we will gain some legalism and move that by, was it 25? I think then the slider will be at just 5, and then the further you go in each end, then you will get more and more bonuses. There's actually not. It's not good as a Muslim nation to be in the middle. You want to be at either side, because in the middle you just get no bonuses at all. Each side gives different bonuses, but that's not why we're here right now. Back to Constantinople. So how do we gain a casus belli, a reason for war? Some nations, they have missions, or all nations actually have missions, but some nations have more missions than others. Click the mission tab up here. The Ottoman Empire has a lot of missions, as you can see here. A lot of missions, and many of them are actually about gaining casus belli on their neighbors. And they actually have a casus belli mission, or a mission that gives them a casus belli on Constantinople. It's called City of World's Desires. So for us to go to war with them, no wait, they actually don't have it, but we can get a rather easy casus belli. I was pretty sure they had one, maybe not. Oh well, that's fine. We can actually show you how to gain a casus belli, not through the mission tree. If we right click on a nation, we have various tabs here. Normally I just click them open when I play. You can do the same. For right now we're just going down to, I think it's covert actions. You click on covert action and the tab closes and opens. And then we need some spy network, because if you have a spy in another nation, we can gain what we briefly talked about last episode, spy network. And you get points in this spy network. And you can use those points on various things, and one of them is to fabricate a claim. You can use, if we had 20 spy networking in Constantinople, we can use 20 of those points to gain a casus belli, a claim on, say, this province here. So we're going to build spy network and do confirm. So we will send a spy here. Each month we will get 1.49 points of spy networking in Byzantium. We'll say confirm. And you can see over here in our outliner at the very top of the diplomats, he is now a spy and he's working on gaining spy network. So let us just unpause and let's see how much it goes up. It should go up by 1.49 as it said, yes. And just a random event here. And I guess we can just let the game run a bit and wait for our claim to fire. Now, some nations start with some national decisions. I just looked at them just before quickly. It's an alert up here. We can click this and it's under the decisions and policies, as we also briefly talked about. Policies you gain from completing idea groups under here. But decisions are something that applies to your country usually instantaneously. And Ottomans is one of those nations that has several to start with you can click on. You can also click them away if you don't want to click it and you don't want the alert up here. You can click on this little circle and it will go down here at the bottom, even though you can still click it. But if I did that with all the green ones here, the alert up here went away, even though I can still click them. Normally I just click them away if I'm not sure, but right now we just have them on. As the Ottomans, you can adopt the title of Khalifa, and there's a small flavor text on each of these policies, and they give various bonuses and sometimes some malices, some non-bonuses, what do you call that? Some penalties, I suppose. By adopting the Caliph until the death of our current ruler, we gain some prestige and some legalism. Yes, that sounds marvelous. We'll just click that. Then we have denouncement of sect practices. It gives us a minus unrest until the death of our current ruler. And some legalism. Yes, we want that. That's fine. We can adopt enforced religious unity, so it's easier to convert heretics. That is other Muslim groups, such as Shia or Yazidi or is there something else? I'm not really sure. But other Muslims, non-Sunnis, basically. Yes, that sounds fine. There's nothing bad about that. And then there's something historical here. By enrolling young men from newly conquered lands into services, we increase the efficiency of the recruitment process considerably. Let us further expand and refine the system of our state, or as our state grows. It's basically you kidnap young kids from conquered territories and remold them into the Janissary Corps. As you can see here, there's a cost by clicking this button. It costs us 100 military power, but Ottomans get the Devshim system until the end of the game, giving us 10% more manpower, national manpower modifier. This is pretty damn good. For the rest of the game, for 100 points, that's a good deal. So we'll say yes to that as well. Now, these things are just activated. If you want to remind yourself what they do, you can look over. Let's see if I click the right button. I think it's government. Yes. We talked about the country modifiers over here. Last time we checked with France, there was nothing when we played France, but now these decisions we activated, they are shown here if you want to reread them again. So that's a little handy thing. Yes, let us continue and just try and wait a bit for this casus belli. So we can talk about that first, and after that we'll talk about diplomacy in general. So this should, I'm just maxing speed, just waiting here really. until we have 20 points, and that causes belli. As I also said before, EU4 is loaded with random events, and this is one of these. We're not going to go through deep into them right now. I'll just click here. But on your own accord, when you're playing on your own, I recommend reading the random events very closely and then choosing one of the decisions. If you just let an event run its course, it will always take the top decision. I can show that next time we get a random event. Events, this is not really random events, it's just talking about what will happen between other nations, because there's something called loose lips. Basically, the monarch in one of the nations, they like to talk a lot, so you know what's going on. Oh, go down to speed 4 again. So we have 20 points here, so that means we can actually fabricate a claim. So right click on Byzantium, and then we can click here. It will cost 20 points, so we can click fabricate claim, and then it shows us an various provinces we can claim because we border them either directly over land or even over sea. I can actually fabricate a claim on Cyprus down here because I share a sea zone with them, as you can see here, or here basically. But we are going to click on Constantinople. Fabricate a claim will reduce the size of our Byzantine spy network by 20 points or whatever, and give us a claim on Constantinople. This claim, or the claim, will last for 25 years. So if you don't attack in those 25 years, the claim will go away and you'll have to redo it again. So we're going to say OK, and claim fabricated. OK. So now we're going to just let the game run a tick. Even though you don't have to, it's just my way of playing. And right click again, and we're going to click this covert actions away and go up to declare war, and then you can see now I have a claim. I have a conquest claim, or casus belli, on Constantinople. If you hover the mouse over it, or you can also hover the mouse over here, let's just say the whole provinces that we have claims on, then you can hold the mouse cursor over a province you have a claim on, and then it says what you will get out of this war. You can also ask for other stuff. Say if I went to war for just this, I could in theory and in practice also ask for this down here. So it says a war goal. That is very important to have a war goal, to know what your war goal is. I will talk about that in a moment, but also always have this in mind. What is the war goal of the war? Because holding the war goal or trying to aim for the war goal will give you a bonus in terms of war score when the war is going on. Basically, you have more sway over how the war is going in terms of a potential peace deal. So always have that in mind. So the war goal is to hold Constantinople. We have to take it from them and just sit on it while the war rages. We will still gain some legalism because we're still attacking Orthodox, but then it also warns you if they're allied to someone or rule over someone. Byzantium at this stage of the game, they are allied with Wallachia. And then you wonder, what is Wallachia, or where is Wallachia, or what the hell is going on here? And then it also says Byzantium rule over Athens. Who will aid them? Normally you can just zoom out a bit and maybe usually the AI ally is somewhat close to them. If you zoom out a bit, then you can see the name pops up on each country, and then you can just click this away and just look if you want to. Now I know where Wallachia is. You might also have spotted it so far, but if you don't know where it is and you simply can't find it, there's a very little handy button down here. No, here. This arrow pointing to the right. It says find. You can also just click F on your keyboard and it will pop up, and then you can find provinces or nations. I think I briefly touched upon this in the French episode or the last episode, but no matter. Then you can type in, if I want to say, okay, I want to know where Wallachia is, and then it pops up. You can also turn off exact matches, and then we'll take some kind of combination of what you have written, and you can get more options down here. I usually just have exact matches only. And then it shows the country because of the flag, and then the actual province, I think, or state. I think it's state here. But we'll just click here, and this shows Wallachia, and it zooms into their capital. So Wallachia is up here, they're allied to them, and then they rule over Athens. You can also see here in the diplomacy screen, before going to war, it's very important actually, who they're allied to and who they rule over. So here they are trying to improve some relations with various people, Athens and Wallachia. and the other way around. Athens is trying to improve relations with Byzantium, and then it goes with these crossed flags, the blue and the red. It says allied, or this is a symbol for allies, and Wallachia pops up here. You can also left click here to pop over to Wallachia, then click their shield, and it zooms over to their shield, but back to Byzantium. And then it has Athens, so we know how to use the find mechanic. But as I just did with Wallachia, you can see down here has the following vassals. That means they rule over Athens, but they do not control them directly. So we can click Athens here, and then click Athens, and then it zooms over to Athens. So now we know that Byzantium, if we go back to declare war, Athens will help them because they are a subject of Byzantium. And you can see down here there's a green check mark. It means that Wallachia will help them. You can hover the mouse over the reason, and you get reasons why they will help them. If you look down, it says defensive war plus 30, attitude towards enemies plus 20, and Byzantine diplomatic reputation plus 4. So they have every reason to help Byzantium. So we know they will help them as well. Now, before I go to war, I want to look at my armies. I have 2 armies right now. I have this army here and this army here. We want to send an army over to Byzantium and take, Constantinople here. But first, let's look here. Now, there's very many buttons in general. We're going to focus first up here at the top. It says no leader. It means that the army has no general. I do not recommend going to war and having armies with no general in general. There can of course be circumstances where you have an army somewhere that does not have a general, but usually when you do battle, at least, you always want a general. So you can left click here, and then it shows if you have any available generals. The Ottomans start with a very good general, Hadim Sehabedin. He has various pips here that aids the army, and we're going to left click on him, and he pops into this army, and you can see the army gained 2 stars here. It shows that there's a general in the army. You can see right now the Byzantium, you can also hover the mouse over it. It says no leader and no stars, so no leader there. Now Athens down here, they got a general here, a 3-star general. The more stars the better. And it shows the leader's skills. It's a 6 fire, 6 shock, 2 maneuver and 2 siege, if you look at the very bottom of this tooltip. So that's a very good leader actually, but a very small army, so I'm not too worried. Now if we click the other army here, or just a left click, whoops, we also want a leader here, but this general is already assigned. I could just move him over here, that is instantaneously, and just have him teleported to both armies, but I also want a general over here. I'm going to click on this recruited general. You can also recruit later on a conquistador that can explore territories. You can see the map down here, there's plenty of non-explored areas, by land of course here. Then you can make your ruler a general, and then you can make an heir, or the general if it's a male. I'm just going to recruit a general. It costs 50 military points up here to do that. So we're going to left click, and it says you gain some army professionalism. Your army becomes a bit more professional, and he will be called this. You can just random or just delete the name and call him King Tut. Okay, so King Tut here, he is 2 fire, 2 shock, 3 maneuver, 1 siege. It's actually okay here in the early stages of the game. We're going to move him, right, to move an army. Let's just click here again. You select an army, and then you can right click on a province, and the army will move down here over time. You can hover the mouse over the army, and it says will arrive in Tihala on the 14th of March 1446. Now when an army has moved 51% of the distance, it will be locked to this province. I can try and show you that. Otherwise you can just right click before that, and the army will stop where it is. I want an army to go down here. I'm going to unpause, and then you can see the slider moving here, and once it becomes gray, it means the army is locked to go here. Oh, yeah, random event. Now it's gray, and I can't. He will continue to go down here. I can't make him stop. Now I'm just setting him more waypoints basically. So but I want him to go down here, so that's fine. Then left click to go away. Oh, I've got a new rival here. It doesn't really matter. Just say Mamluks. We want the army down here because we know Athens is here, and well, the rest of Byzantium is down here. We'll just leave this front here open for now. Just let the game run a bit. Now in the economic section, another episode, I will talk a bit more about the navy, but I will touch on it now, a bit at least. You also have a navy. Right now we have two navies, and you can see how they are designed. There are 4 different ship types: heavy ship, light ship, galley, and transport. Transport is determining how many men you can transport across oceans or bodies of water. So right now this navy here can hold 13 regiments. It doesn't matter if it's cavalry, infantry, or artillery. And then we have 8 galleys. Galleys are good in something called inland seas. You can hover the mouse over a body of water and see if it's an inland sea. Here, the Gulf of Varna. This is an inland sea. Galleys will be more effective here, performing at a higher level of combat. Basically, it means galleys will get double the amount of cannons when fighting in inland seas, so they're good in inland seas. Basically, the whole Mediterranean is an inland sea here, and the Black Sea, the Baltic Sea, and then some oceans over here near Japan is also inland seas, and I think down here as well, the Red Sea, yes. But, yeah. So right now we have a navy. You can also blockade a port. You can see the Byzantines actually has a decent navy. So we're going to send our navy out here to the Sea of Marmara and blockade this port, because then it makes it easier to siege down stuff, or siege down their fort. So we're going to have these 2 armies, and then I want to combine them. You can see up here you can reorganize, and then you can merge both of these units. So we're going to just gonna merge them by clicking the G button or clicking here, bonk. And then we have a navy, and you can see how each ship is doing here. You can also hold the mouse over here, bark, and then it will tell you how many cannons, hull size, speed, etc. it got. And then the rules are the same on ocean as it is on land. You can make a square here and click it, or just left click on it directly and then right click to make it move. And ships will also, or navies will also be locked once they have moved half the way. So we're gonna move it out here to blockade this fort. Dock. Now it sits here. Now we could build a bigger army. As we talked here, if we click this shield, our shield, and then went over to the army tab, military, I talked about something called force limit. We have a force limit of 38 in total. Right now our army is 30 regiments right now, but we could have 8 more regiments without paying an extra amount of money. We will still pay money for these 8 regiments we're going to build in a moment, but if you get above the force limit, then each regiment above the force limit will cost, I think it's double or triple the amount of cost. It scales, I'm pretty sure it scales, but at least it will be very expensive, so in general try to stick to the force limit. So how do I build 8 more regiments? There's several ways. You can click on a province, left click. This is the province screen. It's a bit confusing, but for now we are going to, let's see if I can remember it. I usually don't click here. Yeah, right here. There are 3 buttons here where you can recruit a regiment in this province. You can build a ship here because it has a port, and then you can hire mercenaries. I'm just gonna left click here, and it will show I can build infantry or cavalry. I'm going to left click on this infantry, bonk, and it will build this infantry. It says it will take 56 days to complete it. But another way, I'm going to left click here again and delete it, not build it anyways. Another way to build armies is to, or reinforce an army, is to click on an army, and then there are these small pluses here. Now I can just say, okay, it shows if I want to build infantry it costs 10 gold. It will then start building an infantry in the closest province, and if I click several times it will just start building in the second closest, and so on and so forth. So if I want, let's say I want 4 more infantry over here and 4 more infantry over here, I will click this button 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can see where they're starting to be built, and once these infantries are done they will automatically go down to this army and merge. It's very handy. And then I do the same over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to unpause and let the infantry be built. We'll just take a moment. You see the green slider moving up. And let's hope the Byzantium don't ally more people. And you can see a new alert popped up here. It's a flag. It means mission fulfilled. Now we can left click here, and then it shines where you have actually completed something with these missions. You can see we have completed build to force limit. That is because the question mark, we have total army size of 100% of the force limit. We build up to a force limit, then we complete this mission, and then we can hover the mouse over what it gives us by completing this mission. If we click it in a moment, for 25 years we gain 5% more morale and 5% cheaper land maintenance. You pay for your army, so that is very handy to have. So we're going to left click, and it tells us what we just did. But we also have this reform the Imperial Army. So total army size at least 85% of the force limit. Okay, so this is special to the Ottomans. As realized by Mehmed II, if our empire is to grow, we must build a large and modern army. Only with a strong standing army, salaried and with modern weapons, can we hope to reimpose order and Ottoman rule over Anatolia. And it gives us what? Ottoman gains a permanent claim on various areas. So that sounds wonderful. That is reasons for war. This is casus belli we gain for free, and they are permanent until we can if we lose a war, be forced to relinquish our claim. But let's not count on losing any wars. So I'm going to left click here, and we gain a bunch of claims. Wonderful. And on pause, donk. There we go. So yeah, before we can do this, we want Constantinople. Alright, so our armies are ready, they are maxed, they have a bonus to morale, and everything seems fine. So let us right click on Byzantium again, and just double check if they got a new ally. Nope, they're still only allied with Wallachia and Athens as their subject. So we're going to declare war. We have this selected. Always make sure you have the correct selected, because you can have more different casus belli on this screen here. I'll just do a no casus belli and get that penalty we talked about earlier. I will touch a bit on aggressive expansion in a moment after this war. So Athens, Wallachia, confirm. We're already fighting here in the sea. We can see our navy is over here on this side, and their navy is down here. And on over here they just have one ship. We have all these ships. They have these ships. Engagement with how many ships can be deployed at the same time. The morale. And if they have captured any ships. So we're just gonna on pause, and this ship should lose almost instantly. Okay, and you can see more ships are actually coming here, so there'll be another battle here in a moment. But we're going to focus on what you call it, land battle right now. So I'm gonna click army, and then okay, I want this army to go to Constantinople. It says here we get a crossing penalty because we're crossing a river for some reason. So it means because when you are at war, you roll, or in battle, you roll dices, and then those dices add to how good your army will perform. So we're gonna look at that in a moment, but before that, I'm gonna zoom out a bit again. Get this army and see. Okay, this army from Athens is moving south. We're just gonna let them go to Athens and sit there for a moment. Back to here. This army will engage the 4th of July. So that is in some days. Right, we won in the Sea of Marmara again. Wonderful. Remember, this is the basic introduction to warfare. Oops, okay, this is going way too fast. Okay, we missed the start of it because I didn't turn the speed down. I'm gonna get speed down to 1 here. Now, battle on land. We have our army up here. You can see the shield, and the Byzantiums, the Romans are down here. This is our roll here. We roll a dice from 1 to 12, I can't recall, but a die from 0 to, I think it's 10 or 12, I can't recall actually right now. And then you add how good your general is, or how much better your general is compared to the other general. Now we gain 2 fire here, but if we look at our general, we can also look here on the military tab, our generals. The one fighting here is Hadim. He has 3 fire, but it only shows 2 fire here. That is because their general, you can see the general down here, and hover the mouse over him, he has 1 fire, so he take 1 fire away from us, and then we only gain 2 fire. If he had 3 fire as well, this general, it will be no bonuses here. You can see our morale, it goes from like right to left when losing. You can see the discipline here. Discipline is always good. It's how well disciplined your army is, and it means more damage basically. Your morale and why you have this morale, and tactics, which is how much damage you take. The more tactics you got compared to the others, the less damage you take. I can't really recall exactly. We can look at here in the military screen again and find tactics. If I can find it, it should be here. Yes, military tactics. Military tactics reduce the damage your units take in combat. Yes, so the higher it is, the better. You just want a lot of these things, really. You want a lot of morale, a lot of tactics. Basically, tactics you only gain from technology, I'm pretty sure. I don't think you have any ideas that gives tactics. But morale and discipline you can gain from ideas. So we actually start with 5 discipline, because remember, we start with 2 ideas as any nation. The Ottomans start with some more discipline, and we're a bit more tolerant to heathens, basically Christians and, well, other non-Muslims, basically. And then there is these phases. It goes from fire, shock, fire, shock, fire, shock, and then onwards we go. So right now in the fire phase, because we have the fire here, and we are pretty much destroying them. You can see their number over here, and you can see how the line is formed. This is not something you need to look at every time. I normally just do the battle and then see if I win or lose by looking here, just in general, with the rolls and the morale. But you can also follow the battle here a bit. And then you can see army size and, well, the cavalry as well. That's down here. So we're gonna pause a bit, even though the fight is almost over. And okay, that was the last phase because they gave up. Then you get this screen here after each battle. You can turn this off if you want to down here. I like to have this pop up after every battle. Our side is over here. The enemy side is over here. We gain some prestige because we won. We gained something called army tradition. We got a bit of war exhaustion basically because we lost some troops. The country as a whole is not too happy about that, but it doesn't really bother them that much. Now the Byzantians, they lost a lot of morale. Oh, sorry. A lot of prestige. They gained a lot of army tradition because there's some saying that you learn more in defeat than in victory. So that applies here as well. So in the next fight they have hopefully learned from their mistakes and will perform better. But as we know, they will lose because they're fighting us. And they gained a lot more war exhaustion because they lost a lot more troops. They actually lost their entire army, as you can see down here with losses. We started with the top one. That was our army to start with. This is our losses. We only lost 1,300 troops roughly. So our army size is now 14,600 and 4,000 cavalry of infantry and cavalry. But the Byzantians, they lost their entire army completely. They got stacked wiped. It's called stack wiping an army. So it disappeared from the map. And we gained some war score. Wonderful. Now when you're at war, you can see a little shield down here. You can left click this shield and you can see who is fighting over what. Ottoman conquest of Constantinople, and then it says the war goal here, take Constantinople. Then you can see the side, their numbers, what they have in total, army size and navy size, and their side as well, including all of their allies. So this is the total. And you can hover the mouse over it and see who has what. So basically we have the Athenian army left and the Wallachian army left fighting us. You can see losses down here from actual, this is total losses here, and then how many we lost to attrition. You can lose troops just by standing in a province if there's a winter and you have too many troops in one province, because every province can only hold so many troops. And yeah, and right now we have 14 points because war score, we don't have Constantinople yet, but we won one battle gaining 6 points, and we are blockading Constantinople because with our navy, so we already have 14 points. If you hold a war goal, you can get an extra 25 points, so that is why it's important to go after the war goal. And you can see different battles down here, what happened. Now our battle with Constantinople where we won. Close this. You can just open and close this how much you like. We're just gonna unpause. We're gonna let this army sit here and this army sit down here, and turn up the speed again and see if we can conclude this war in a good manner. So if we click, now we're sieging Constantinople. We can click the army, or we can click the province. If we click the province, we get this siege screen. Right, and this is a random event. If I just let this random event like just be and unpause, After, I think it's 3 months, it will go away, but it will always take the top decision. So just be aware of that. We're just going to click it away right now. It's not really important. The siege view here shows how the siege is progressing. At the top we have the defender, at the bottom the attacker. You can also click show province if you want to look at the province instead. But we want to look at the siege right now. So the morale in the fort here is good. They have max morale. The size of the defenders, the fort is 3,000 soldiers. It's a level 3 fort. Right now we have a status quo. There is a tick happening every so often, and that is determined how well the province is defended. Right now we will have a tick every 28 days, and then you roll a dice over here, and that dice can be applied with different modifiers. So right now we have a +1 here because of our general. He has good siege capabilities. We have no cannons or artillery. We have blockaded them, so it's a 0 here. If we did not have a navy here, it will be a minus to our dice roll. And the fort level 3 gives a -3 to a roll. And we can also breach the wall, which will give us a +3 on each roll. Also, it says up here, regiment needed to siege down this province is 9. We need at least 9 regiments to begin sieging this. Right now we have almost 20 regiments here. And down here is our army size and how many percentage of our army we lose every month to attrition. Just gonna unpause again and let this just roll a bit. You can see the modifier over here. We get a good roll here. And you can see the percentage, it begins to move more and more in our favor. We don't want a minus percentage right now. We want a high percentage number, because that's the chance of the walls or the province falling to us. Still minus, so we can't take it right now. We can storm the walls if we ever breach the walls. And that is just a chance of breaching the walls right now. You can't really you can actually use some points on breaching it if we had any artillery, but we don't. But then we can actually try and storm the walls. Usually I do not recommend storming the walls. It depends a bit, but in general, no. Now we have 29% chance of taking the province with this tick. So maybe if we're lucky. Nope. Now we have 36%. Maybe if we're lucky. Okay. Nope. We're also sieging down here. So we have 2 sieges going. You can also see it out here in the outliner. The percentage chance. Oh, pause. We took Constantinople. The siege lasted for almost a year, pretty much. Okay, wonderful. So now we control Constantinople. If we click here on the war score again, you can see we now have 40 points. And we hold Constantinople, so now the war goal will begin to tick in our favor. So that's wonderful. I'm gonna say close again. And because we took the fort here, or the province, their navy they had in port got ejected out to our navy. So now we have a naval battle here going on. Now they have a few more ships, but we should still win. Even though I forgot to put an admiral here, you can see no leader. But just by sheer numbers, we should maybe win. Oh, and we took Athens here. Wonderful. Gonna take this army while they fight. I have the game paused. I always use spacebar to pause. You can also click up here to pause and unpause. And use this army to go to Morea. We have this province first. A province without a fort. I will just show you now how easy it is to take a province without any fort. And we won here. Ooh, no, we're actually losing. It doesn't really matter that much. I forgot to put an admiral there, so whoops. Now, a province without a fort, you will just need 1,000 troops to actually take it. You can see the 100% chance once this has ticked up because there's no fort nearby. Now, forts can actually project what they are defending. If I took this province, I can just show you, because you can see there's a little fort icon here, or castle or whatever, a tower icon. It means there's a fort in this province down here, but not here. I can show you what happens if you take a province next to a fort and then leave the province again. Because then the fort will actually project its control over the nearby provinces and retake it automatically over time. So if I took Achaia, as I just did, click my army, move over to Athens again, they will walk back to Athens. Then you can see this little control of Achaia is being reverted to Byzantium from the fort in Morea. Forts project one province away from the fort. So if there were more provinces around Morea, it will project its control over them as well. Say here we have a fort in Selanik. So before they can actually take the provinces around Selanik, the enemy would have to take Selanik first. So that is why forts are very handy. In some cases, they're especially handy if you put a fort in mountains. As you can see, each province has like a terrain modifier, and mountains are good because if you put a fort here in the mountains and an enemy army came to siege it, we could try and relieve the siege by attacking the army, of course, but then we will gain the bonuses of these mountains and not the one standing here. Normally, if you attack an army in a province, the defender gets the bonus of standing, say, in highlands or in mountains, but because we have a fort, or if we had a fort here, we will get the bonus from the mountains. It basically means, as you can see, a dice roll for attackers -2, but if we had a fort, we will be the defender, even though we attacked, and they will get a -2. So that is why having forts in mountains for protection is very handy. Anyways, back here. So this is reverting back to Morea, but we already took it, but if we move the army down here, it will stop again. Bonk. Go down again, boop, and we control it again. So we're going to attack here, Morea. Someone is asking us for military access up here. You can decide if you want to give people access or not. It won't really change anything for you, but it gives other nations, AI nations, ability to walk through your land. So we're going to continue here, go down to Morea. You can go speed 1 again, and you can see the fighting happening. You can see also these red numbers popping up, who loses what. Right now we're losing, well, not anymore, but we lost a few more men before. But now they're losing a lot of soldiers. You're going to see their morale going down, even though they have a lot of fire with their general. It's the 6/6 guy. And we have a -1 because we're attacking into the highlands. But we won, and they got stack wiped again. Wonderful. And our general gained a trade. His army now moves with 10% more speed. Wonderful. You can see up here, if you have an army selected, up here next to the general's name, King Todd, it says that he is a general, and he has now goal-oriented plus 10% movement speed. And we're just gonna sit here and siege down Morea. And we can click the siege icon here again, and now you can see, oh, it's actually -2, right? If you don't blockade a port with a fort, you have a -2 to the siege roll, so it will probably take a bit longer to siege down this. We'll see. Up the speed to 4 again. Now, I actually don't need my army to stand here. We already took this, so we can move away from it right now. We could move our army up towards Wallachia, who is actually also in the war. We can just go here to one of their forts. They have an army of 10k here, but we have an army of 20k here, so that's double. I don't think they will attack us. Oh, our ruler just died. We can decide to mourn for 3 days or set aside a charitable foundation for her memory. Oh wait, no, it's I think it was his consort maybe that died. Our ruler over here, as you can see, he is very good. We start with a very good ruler, Mehmed II. You always start with this ruler as Ottomans. The rulers you see to start with in every nation, they always start with that. But he has 646, and he has a trait of conqueror, so that is very good. Years of separatism. When you take a province, there is some separatism in the province, and that lasts for, I think it's 25 years. So -5 years for that, that's very good. So we will mourn. Fine. So we have a peace offer from Byzantium. You can click this, left click, and see what they want to give you. And in general, I always want to conduct what will happen in this war score down here. Right now it says Byzantium will cede Constantinople to us. They will renounce their claims on Kirkelis. That's a province right here. They will give us 10% of their income for war reparations. That will last for 10 years. And they will pay us 100 ducats. That sounds like a pretty sweet deal, but we're going to say decline. Not yet. I want to take Morea first, at least. Zoom out a bit. You can see what is going on. Okay, they're moving an army down here. Just a random event. I'm just gonna click away from these right now, the random events. It's not that big of a deal. And then we wait. Another... okay, it says our spy got caught. When a spy get caught, there's a chance that they will get caught. They will lose some of their spy networking, and they will not be able to do any spy networking for some time. I can't recall for how long actually, but some time. As you can see here, their siege of Erdene is actually going quite well. They always have a -14, and that's because they have breached the walls here. So we could decide, okay, I don't want to take this, I want to go down here and kill them, because they're actually taking my capital. Each nation has a capital, and right now Erdene for us is our capital here with this little crown. So I don't want them to take our capital, so we're going to take our army and right click down here and see if we can catch them in the act. Okay, so the AI sometimes, I'm not sure if they're cheating or not, but they can see where we're going sometimes from a bit early. They know we're coming down here, so they're moving the majority of the army up to, well, where are they going? We'll arrive, you can see the top one. They have a leader called Vlad II, and they will arrive in Felipe on the 10th of June. So, but if you noticed here, there's a little padlock on the army right now. That means they are locked to Felipe. So I know they will go to Felipe no matter what. They can't stop that. So I know if I stop my army here, because they're not locked over here, right-clicked here, and then right-clicked in Felipe, I will be able to catch them. And because I will be able to catch them, these two swords will pop up. So that is just handy. So we're going to, that's why you need to pay attention to if an army is locked or not. Then you can catch them a bit more easily. So we're going to go to Felipe and catch them there, and hopefully kill them. They arrived first, so we will get a -2 crossing a river, and because if it's forest or woods, we also get a -1 to our roll. So we do not roll 6 here, we actually only roll 4. So, but we still rolled higher than them. They rolled a 1, so that's pretty damn bad. Just gonna unpause, and we should win. There we go. Now we did not stack wipe them. We actually lost pretty much the same amount of troops here. Maybe they lost a few more than us, but it was a victory nonetheless. We did send them on the run, and they stopped sieging down Erdene. So we're going to right-click back on Girgui, and yeah, hopefully take it from them. I think this will probably just cover warfare, otherwise the episode will take way too long. So we'll do a separate episode regarding diplomacy a bit more. Probably the next one. Just gonna wait for this war to end. Oh, the siege of Morea is over. We have won. Morea, so you can also actually click go to if you're confused where that siege was. And we'll transport you down to where it was. So it was Morea. Wonderful. So we're just gonna set our army up to our own province so they don't suffer too much attrition. And I suppose we can just let them sit there for now. Now we could end the war now. I think I want to take this province up here from them and then just peace out Wallachia. Say, hey, we have taken this from you now. Are you willing to just go leave the war and let us be with the Byzantium and Athens? And they probably will. So Byzantium is trying to make a peace deal with us. We can just not respond or just right-click to make it go away. So we took Girgui. So how do we actually make a peace with Wallachia and not with these guys down here? You can click the war goal here, or war tab screen here, and then you can actually click on Wallachia. It's another participant in the war. They still have high enthusiasm for the war, so they're still willing to fight. We can just left-click here. It will bring you up the diplomacy screen. You can also just right-click Wallachia and sue for peace. They are not the main participant of this war. So if we peaced out Wallachia, we will just have peaced out Wallachia, but not the others. We have a 34% war score with Wallachia. We could just send them demand of nothing. We won't demand anything, but we won't give them anything either. But they're almost willing to actually accept that. You can see we have 48% or 48 reasons positive, but 49 negative, and then you can see why is that. So the longer the war actually is going on, the more they're willing to leave a war that is not really concerning them that much. Now, to get a few more points, we could just take an army and attack their army up here, because now we took the fort here, so we can move. Yeah, something I didn't really mention earlier. A fort actually blocks people from going around the fort. say this fort here actually blocked me from going around in the other provinces next to it. I can always go to a fort like here, but I could not have gone past it because it was blocking my entrance. I could have taken this, but I could not have, like, how do you say it? It's the zone of control. It's a bit confusing, but each fort have a zone of control, as I talked about before, and they also block movement in certain ways. But we're going into their capital actually, and hopefully kill their army. Yes, that was a stack wipe. So now we have killed their army, we have taken one of the forts, and we're sieging down their capital. So they should be willing to make a white peace with us. See, now they're low here, so we're going to click them again. Sue for peace. And this is the peace deal or peace screen. I will show it a bit more in detail with Byzantium. Right now, we're just going to make a white peace. You can see down here what is going on. We negotiate on behalf of our entire alliance, and they are merely negotiating for themselves. So that is important to take notice of that when you're making peace deals. White peace. Nobody will gain or lose anything. We could ask them for something, I think. Some money maybe. But right now, for the reason of this tutorial, we're just going to say a white peace. Send demand. And they white peaced out, and you can see how much they lost in this war and how much we lost in this war. So close. And white peace with them. Fine. Now an army is exiled when they're not in war anymore and in a former hostile territory, so that means this army can't be attacked by anyone. You have to pull it back to your own land, so we're just going to right click on Celestre, and you can see the icon also popped up here, exiled army, and that should go away in a moment. There we go. Right, so Byzantium and Athens. We can click here again. You can see we have 100 points. That's because we have occupied everything. They have nothing left. Complete victory. So we're gonna click up here. There's two buttons. One is unconditional surrender to them. Do not click on this if you do not want to unconditional surrender. Click on this one. It's a bit stupid. They're right next to each other. This is bad. Because then you give up. We don't want that. Like complete give up. And force them to make a peace deal. This is mostly used for multiplayer. Don't worry too much about it. Just don't click it. Click here, left click. This is the, what you call it, peace screen, I guess, when you negotiate a peace with another nation. You have demand and offer. This is if I want to give them something, this is what I want. I do not want to give them anything because that means I've lost the war. You can see there are various icons up here. Seed province. I ask a province from them. We can say, hey, don't have this as a core anymore. A core is basically what they consider part of their nation. I don't really care much about that right now. We can make them cancel as subject, so don't be ruler of Athens anymore, but won't stress too much about that because we want to, well, annex or take Athens as well. We can make them release a nation. Say, hey, release Achaia and Maria as independent nations, and they will pop up there. We can make, say, do not have these treaties with other countries anymore. Say, don't be allied to Wallachia anymore, or be a rival of Genoa. Or we can make other treaties. We can say, hey, you become a vassal of mine, Athens and Byzantium. We can make them just say, hey, you're defeated, yield, and basically just gain a bit of prestige. And other various things, some money, trade power, etc., etc. Now, I want provinces. I want these 4 provinces from them. So I can click here, and they will turn green. Or I can go down here and say clear offer. Forget it, I don't want that anyways. I just want Constantinople, and left click also on the screen up here at the map. Say, I just want Constantinople, but I want everything. So I'm gonna click here. I think. Yeah. Well, normally I would take everything, but you also have considered your neighbors will be a bit, what do you call it, wary of you if you take too much land too fast. You gain something called aggressive expansion. It basically means if you are too belligerent, your neighbors will begin to team up against you. I will talk about that a bit more in the diplomacy episode, because we have to round up this episode very, very soon. But say I want these 4 things, and then you can see they will accept this offer. you can see over here how much aggressive expansion you will get. Normally you don't want above 50 aggressive expansion with other enemies, because then they can make a coalition against you and team up against you, as I just said. But Byzantium will be gone, and Wallachia and Serbia, they're not really that big of nations. This aggressive expansion will go down over time. So we're just gonna say that. We're also gonna click on the money and keep clicking. I could also shift click and it will give the max amount, and we still have 94. We used 94% of our war score of 100, so we're gonna send demand and on pause, and they're gone. That is how you win a war. When you take a province that is not considered part of your empire, you need to core them to make them more part of your nation. So you get a new icon up here that brings you to stability and expansion tab, and then there's something called overextension here. It means your nation has land that is not completely part of your nation yet. So you can click on manage, and it shows the nations you have not cored. You use admin points on that. I will talk about that in the economic episode a bit more, but it means you have to use admin points on making it part of your nation, and you can click make core, make core, make core, make core. It takes a while for a core to happen, and these new provinces we have taken, they will also be a bit unruly for some time. But this is basically how you do warfare. Always make sure before you go to war to check the nation you're going to war with, if they have any allies and stuff like that. But that's basically it. A very basic tutorial on how to declare or how to make warfare. One thing I haven't really talked about a lot, that is on purpose, is up here you have this macro builder for various things. Up here at the top you can also build soldiers, land units and mercenaries. Land units, you use your own manpower up here. Right now we have 0 manpower. It will grow over time. Mercenaries, you don't need manpower, but they cost a lot more money than normal infantry or cavalry or artillery if we had the tech for that. But you can click it's shortcut B for builder, I suppose. Then you can click dunk on what you want to build, but right now it's red because we do not have any manpower. You could click on a mercenary unit, left click, and say, hey, I want an army here or a mercenary unit here, dunk. That is a bit more easy way to build a new army or fresh army. You can also make a template down here. Say this is a Ottoman army. We want this army to consist of 2 infantry and 2 cavalry, and says total 4. It costs this to build, and this is the maintenance for this army. It costs us 4,000 manpower. It takes 306 days to build in general. Estimated time. I'm gonna save, and then the army is down here. You can just click on the army and then click on a province. I can just do this with mercs instead. Ottoman army mercs, and click on mercs instead. Save, and then we have our normal army, merc army, and just click here, and it will start building and merge into a new army here. That's very handy. Anyways, we need to cut. So thank you very much for watching. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell button. Very much appreciated support, and I hope I'll see you next time. Bye.